I'm going to get personal here for a minute, and we're going to talk about something that is very sensitive to me because you would be hard pressed to find somebody besides me who has been done as dirty by a coin dealer as I have. And I'm going to explain that. I'm going to talk about it for a minute. And I'm sharing this story because I've been there. I have been on both sides. I have struggled. I have been a victim. I have been defrauded, and not just by this, but even on eBay and Yahoo auctions in the past when I first started out trying to learn all this. I mean, me and Dad, we slung 90%, or I watched him do it. I watched him buy some gold and buy scrap and things like that, but never really got into it in depth, with all the key dates that's out there and all the special varieties and grading coins. All that stuff was just something we never got involved in. But I can tell you, I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn from scratch. I had to get the books. I had to do the research. So I've been there and I know what it's like. I know what the struggle is like. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I wasn't born with a coin shop under my belt or grew up in a coin shop. It didn't work like that. My name is Daniel, and you're watching Coin Help You. Thanks for watching my latest video. You're about to hear something I've never revealed yet, and since 2018 I've had this channel, but it's something I want to talk about that happened to me back in 2016. And it's not a good thing, but yet, was it a good thing? Well, history seems to think that it was a decent thing or at least something I took and worked it into something better for me. So I worked at the prison, everybody knows this, and I quit in 2009 because in 2007 I started my own help website. And through those ads and through eBay being an affiliate from eBay, I was able to earn enough to quit the job at the prison, withdraw my retirement, put it into the coin business. And I was doing really well. Then one day, back in 2013, in the fall, eBay contacted me and said that the way they're going to start restructuring how they pay affiliates, they were going to change the way they figured the quality of traffic. They figured that the traffic I was sending was people that would already go to eBay, so they wanted new people. They wanted to attract new buyers on eBay and new sellers on eBay. So they called me up and they told me they had assigned someone to my account. I was a super user. I was earning, decent amount of money. And they said that it will drop your earnings 50%. But for the next 6 months, we're going to do what they called strategic financing. eBay was good enough to do this for me and so that I could adjust. Well, the way I did my model, the way I did my website, there was just no way to adjust. And when it came around to March, my earnings dropped 50%, and now I was in panic mode. That was my mainstay. That was my main income. Yes, I sold on eBay and I sold coins, but they were sporadic, not as consistent because I wasn't out there in the public. Basically, my dad would buy the coins, me and him would split the profits. That's how we did it. And then I would make most of my money off of the website and doing things online. So I went back to work in the private sector for a local pharmacy. And then after a year there, I decided to maybe get out of the coin business a little bit, maybe back off from it because I had my help site and everything. I was still going. I had my Facebook group and I still had my community and all that. But I thought, this is taking a lot of my time and it's just not earning enough money to be worth it with all the fees and everything things that are costing. So I went to school, worked full time, and then I went to computer classes, IT classes to get my IT certifications, and I got those. So after I graduated, I had from that classes, 900 hours. I applied for several jobs, had several interviews, and was never able to get a job. And then in November, then in September, almost right after I graduated from it, I got contacted by a dealer in California. And this big dealer he was well known by a lot of people. And I'm not going to get into the names. The names aren't important here. What happened to me is most important. And what I did with it was most important. He needed someone. He contacted me through LinkedIn and asked me if I would help sell coins. He needed help with his website. Did I know somebody? And I said, yes, I can do that. So I started doing that. I started improving his site. I started updating. I started adding stuff to the site or fixing the things that were on the site. And he kept telling me, today's the first day of the rest of your life. I never flew before and he wanted me to fly out there. And I was like, man, I don't know about this. He said, come on, man. I said, I'll get the tickets and we'll do it, or we'll pay for it. So I was already earning some money doing this. And I thought this is really cool. I'll fly out there and we'll check out his operations, meet him in person. And that's what I did. I met his staff. I stayed at his place. We went out to eat, we talked, and he wanted me to do all this stuff and fix his Amazon, fix his eBay. He didn't want to pay all the fees. He wanted to sell more off his site. He wanted to do singles and different things. And he had all these ideas. And I was like, I'm on board, man. He said, well, make sure you got a job and you can provide for your family. And we kind of settled out at an hourly rate. And I said I could fly out here or drive out here every, month or so, every couple months. And that way I can do a little, remote. And my idea was, man, I could start maybe taking some of these coins and going to coin shows, and I could start doing stuff and really starting to sell these for him and do some commission things for him. Now, there's a little unrest in the ranks there because everybody's wanting paid more money. They're in California. They want more money. And the people that he had hired there, a couple of them was wanting to move closer and make more money. So anyways, that I didn't realize was such a big problem. Here I am, an outsider coming in. I never thought of that. I thought everybody was on board with me helping out because I was going to improve sales. I can guarantee you I was the right guy for the job, and he just didn't even know it. He knew it and then forgot it or got talked out of it. Because when I came home, I called him up, talked to him a little bit, and I could tell there was a change in the attitude. And I was like, what's going on here, man? I need a contract. I need some guarantees, if I'm going to do this, because I quit my job. I gave him my notice. My 2 weeks is up and I'm no longer employed. I'm employed or supposedly with him, this coin dealer. It turns out that they started finding fault with everything that I was doing and saying I shouldn't be doing this and I was doing this. And there's so much conflict that eventually by December, I had no job and I have a family and here's the holidays and I'm jobless. And I thought, what am I going to do? I've got to do something here. I've got to sell coins. I got to do something. So I went ahead and I put my name back up online that I was buying and selling as CoinHelp at the time before I started my channel. This was in 2016. And I bought a bunch of collections and different things, and I made it through that month, able to do Christmas and everything. This January rolled around and I had one gold coin. Now, my dad had worked here at this coin shop for a local attorney, and he bought coins for him and sold coins for him for a little while. And then eventually whenever silver, because that's back when silver went up to $30 an ounce again in 2011 and it started dropping, and he eventually closed up the shop and said he didn't want to do it anymore. Well, he wanted me to do stuff online. So I came in and selling that gold coin. And as soon as he mentioned it, I said, let's do it. So I worked for that attorney for 14 months here at this shop. And then I was kind of disenchanted, man. It just ain't enough, not making enough money. Well, I had a friend who came in someone I befriended, and he started taking me to the coin shows, and I wasn't getting paid for that. Again, I feel like I'm in a situation where I'm not being done right. And I thought, you know what? I want to buy this out. I'm going to ask him. And he said, I'm in. You let me know. We'll take care of this. And that's what we did. We bought this out and together. And then by 2020 of January, he wanted to sell it to me. He said, I'm out. I want to retire. So we spent a couple of years together doing it. So I've owned it since 2020. And I started my YouTube channel in 2018 in July. And I took that bad situation where I was messed over by a coin dealer that got mixed up in things and started listening to his employees, and they didn't know what they were doing. And they didn't want me around, me involved, and I was taking money from out of their pockets. That's the way they were looking at it. I know what was going on. Instead of doing the right thing and saying, hey, he's going to make us more money, I ended up doing this. But that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, I was about ready to get out of the business, and all of a sudden I get pulled right back in it because somebody did something wrong. And I decided I got to make something out of it, right? I mean, I had to do it. And that's kind of my story. That's kind of part of what I did in this business. There's a lot of other things before that. I've had a lot of struggles, but you know what? Since 2020 and this YouTube channel and owning this business myself and being able to do it my way, the way I want to do it, it's become a success, and it's become a success thanks to you guys. Every one of you that's watched my videos, done business with me, that's how it's worked out. And I thank God for it. I'm very blessed. And I just wanted to share that story because, I hear people talk all the time about the dealer did this to me, dealer did that to me. Well, what are you going to do about it? Fix it. Find somebody else. Deal with somebody else. Complaining about dealers, complaining about what someone's done to you, it does not help anything. Fix it. Become the dealer that you want them to be. Become the collector that you want everybody else to be. Be the person that you want everyone else to be. Hold yourself to that standard that you're holding them to, because complaining online and carrying on about it, I could do the same thing. And I've done that. I have become what I expect other people to become. I am honest. I am transparent. That's the whole thing. You have to be that in this business, and as a person in life, you need to be that way with everyone. You're not going to be perfect. There's nobody that's perfect. But anyways, that's part of my story. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.